Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another discussion video. This is a pretty special one because this week, on September 2nd, The Sims 4 turned 5 years old. Half a decade. Can we just think about that for a minute here? Because think back to your life 5 years ago. Right? It's such a different time back then. And wow, like, I can't believe it's been 5 years already. It's kind of like what Tim Guru Graham said on the Max's monthly livestream. At the same time, it feels both like a short and a long time. And wow, has this game come a long way. No matter what you think of the game now, they've definitely added quite a lot of content. And oh boy, was this game pretty bare bones at launch. And like I said in the video that I did for The Sims 4's 4th anniversary, this game has felt like quite a roller coaster. Seeing this game from the moment it was announced to right now. And The Sims 3 was a roller coaster for me too. I was really worried about that game too, and then they announced seasons and bam! It's a complete turnaround for me. And that really helped me cope a lot with the first couple of years, especially for The Sims 4, where it's like, okay, like, the game feels pretty lackluster now, but then towards the end of The Sims 3, I really started enjoying the game a lot more, and I can definitely say that is the case with The Sims 4 now. Even though there is still a lot of room for improvement, I still think that the game is pretty enjoyable now compared to when it first came out. And yeah, now we have a lot of the packs that I consider essential, like Cats and Dogs, and Seasons, and City Living, and even to an extent Island Living, even though that expansion pack ended up being a disappointment. But yeah, there's still a lot of content that I enjoy that's in the game right now. It's to the point where, just like with the previous 3 Sims games, I can easily get sucked into the game, and then whoops, suddenly it's 4 AM. I gotta say though, mods are partially the reason this game has become as much as it is now, because, man, mods like Kawaii Stacy's Slice of Life, or Twisted Maxie's Tool mod, or Spinning Plum Bob's Expanded Mermaids, there's just so much cool stuff out there that you can get for free, and of course, like all the really cool custom content, hair and objects and all that stuff too. They take the game and they make it even better. And I say this about all Sims games too, not just The Sims 4. I'm really grateful for this community because we help keep the game thriving even in those dull periods where we go months without hearing any news on what the next pack for the game is going to be. And speaking of community, I'm really glad that I've got to meet some of you in person. I've never felt closer to this community than I have with The Sims 4. It's really cool. And yeah, just getting invited to Sims Camp and meeting the Sims developers, these are all memories that are associated with The Sims 4. Even though I did participate in this community starting with The Sims 2 and The Sims 3, The Sims 4 was where that really took off for me. But getting back to the game itself, there's definitely memories that have been made as well. Like, I still remember the day that toddlers were announced to be coming to the game, and it was just like, whoa. I was still in college at the time, and I had actually just finished going to the bathroom, and it was a good thing that I had done that before I saw the news. Otherwise, my bladder motive would have completely bottomed out. Just being honest, because that's just not any ordinary news. That was toddlers coming to the game. It's almost like it's easy to take that for granted now, but I still remember all the drama about, oh, are they going to bring toddlers back or won't they ever do it? Because it took so long. It took over 2 years for toddlers to come back. So even like a few weeks before that update went out, I completely lost hope. I just gave up and was like, I'm not even gonna bother putting toddlers on my 2017 wish list because whatever. They're not listening to us about toddlers. They're listening to us about other things, but not about toddlers, so they're not coming. And sure enough, I was proven wrong pretty shortly after. And you could definitely say that a lot of The Sims 4's lifespan has been spent just trying to catch up. I would say that this game should have been in development for at least 6 months to a year before the base game released. So really, this should have been the 4th anniversary this year, not last year. But yep, it is what it is. It's released now, so can't really change anything about that. But I mean, another really great example of something where I pretty much lost hope for it and then it came was terrain manipulation. I was just thinking, yeah, I don't know if this is ever going to come back. I mean, there definitely was not as much drama about terrain manipulation as there was for toddlers, but it was still like, okay, the game's been out for 4 years now. I don't know if we're ever going to have that, or if we're just going to be stuck with flat lots forever. And sure enough, just before Get Famous dropped, we got that, amongst a whole bunch of other things like first-person camera, and the ability to name our own career instead of just doing the typical shift work. And that's a pretty nice new feature, actually, in my opinion. Well, not just the name your career feature. I also really enjoy the first-person camera. I use that pretty much every time I play. I know that's not really a popular opinion, but yeah, there we go. Simmers who are different, who have different interests, and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I do feel like that is going to continue, because even now, just yesterday in Maxis Monthly, they announced configurable stairs, where now we can make L-shaped stairs and U-shaped stairs and switchback stairs, and just a whole bunch of different stair configurations. Not spiral stairs, unfortunately. Maybe those will still come in the future, but yeah, there's just like another thing where it's like almost exactly 5 years after the base game first released, we're finally getting more stair options. Yep, The Sims 3 definitely tested my patience, but I feel like at times The Sims 4 is doing that to an even bigger extent. And given with the whole rebranding thing that just happened in July, it makes me think that maybe, just maybe, The Sims 4 is going to last for another 5 years, and that honestly scares me. Like, I wouldn't mind The Sims 4 lasting 2 more years. I think that would be great, and then The Sims 5 could come out maybe a year or two after that. But 5 years? I feel like The Sims 4 is going to really wear out its welcome by that point. So hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it's not going to last 5 more years. But sure, there's still more stuff that they can do, like cars, you know, like I always beg for those. The turn-ons and turn-off system from The Sims 2, firefighters, burglars, farming, university, of course. I can't believe it took me this long to mention university, but university at this point is basically that one big fan request that's still left that could easily justify a whole expansion pack on its own. You could say that a decent amount of people are asking for farming, but I think there is still a much greater number of requests for university. And from what I've observed from following this franchise for so long is that when a new Sims game comes out, the most requested thing for an expansion pack is pets, then it's seasons, and then university. So we still got that university left. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see when university happens, because I think it will. It's such a popular request. EA would be missing out on potential money if they did not do it. And it was in both The Sims 2 and The Sims 3. It did not exist in The Sims 1, but still, yeah. Hopefully The Sims 4 can continue to improve and address a lot of my requests and a lot of what the community is asking for as well. And hopefully they can do some really interesting new stuff here and there. I mean, Strangerville was kind of an interesting venture. It's not what I asked for at the time, especially, but still, hopefully they can do really interesting new things in The Sims 4 that make The Sims 4 stand out on its own and not solely be remembered as a game that just feels lacking in comparison to the previous games and just took so long to get many of the basic things that those games had from the get-go. And speaking of things that the previous games had, I think there's some confusion, especially amongst newer players who have just started playing The Sims with The Sims 4, who are wondering why are so many people asking for the same things that have been in the games before? What about the new stuff? Well, the thing is, we're not asking for old things because purely out of nostalgia. We want things because we think they're useful and think will add a lot to the game. I mean, could you imagine if The Sims 4 just never got seasons or never got pets? The life simulation would just feel like just not as deep and not as interesting and not as dynamic. So there are things I would like to see that aren't in the game yet that were in previous games like University, because it adds more depth to the education system, because not everybody just gets their dream job right out of high school. And with cars, even though people love to tell me all the time that cars are pointless because no open world, I still think there's plenty of reason to have cars in The Sims 4. I mean, I can go on and on about that, and I have in the past, but the gist of it is that it's for storytelling purposes, because cars can be a significant part of your life. It helps with the suspension of disbelief too, because now we have a variety of different worlds that are based off of different real-world locations, so it does help me believe more that Sims are getting to these places, like especially if I go from, say, Willow Creek to San Myshuno, it's like, oh, they're driving to the city, and that sort of thing. And The Sims 2 did not have open world. Actually, the worlds were even more restricted in a way in The Sims 2 in terms of gameplay, because you couldn't even roam outside the limits of your lot. You couldn't just go to like the park that was next door. You were just stuck at your current place, and that was it. And they still made cars work, although I can't imagine in The Sims 4 they could have cars driving to the road, because a lot of neighborhoods in The Sims 4 don't have roads. But I still think they could have cars back out of the driveway. And another thing that I would like to see, just to name like one more thing, is a hobby system, like what The Sims 2 Free Time had, so that there's more depth to what Sims do in their free time and not just what they do at work. So hopefully that makes sense. Just because something was in a previous Sims game does not automatically mean that it's a horrible thing to bring back in the current generation of The Sims. So I guess to wrap things up, overall, The Sims 4 has been an experience. A pretty mixed one, but it has created some of the biggest moments of my life, as well as some interesting just moments in history of my personal history with the Sims franchise. And while I think there is room for improvement with The Sims 4 still, even 5 years in, I'm enjoying it quite a lot now. Unfortunately, even in 2019, there are still some questionable packs that release, like Mosquito stuff. That's still a pretty recent one at the time of making this video. So I hope that they continue listening to our concerns about the game and address them. I got a comment on one of my recent videos that really summed up this year well, where these packs, they're mainly meant to just be used in the new world that comes with it, and then outside of that, not really so much. But then with packs like Seasons and Parenthood, they really affect the whole game, and actually both of those packs don't come with the new world. So hopefully we can get more packs like that. I'm not saying don't include worlds in future packs. I still want to see more worlds come out, because I'm always running out of space to create new Sims and have them moved in and all into the same save, because I like keeping all my Sims together. But yeah, hopefully we can just get more regular, normal things versus so many extravagant things. We don't really need that much of that anymore. We got Get Famous. So yeah, hopefully there can be more packs that can just really affect the base level of the game and not just feel like a purely add-on pack that just is kind of separate from the main game. Okay, I just realized how funny it is that Realm of Magic footage was playing in the background during that statement, because that pack maybe could fall into a similar category of being just like this bizarre sort of stuff that's really extravagant and is mainly to be used in the new world. But I feel like to an extent that will not be the case either. It's not like with vampires, because even though you can sort of try and make vampires blend into the modern world, there's still the fact that unless you do have that perk that's really hard to get that can make your vampires become daywalkers, yeah, it's a lot harder for them to blend in. But then with spellcasters, I think it'll be a lot easier, and I do hope to have spellcasters in a lot of the worlds that are in the game now. So maybe Realm of Magic could tread the middle more than other packs that have released this year, like Strangerville and Island Living. But anyways, I think I've rambled enough at this point. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about how The Sims 4 has been so far. And be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!